Man, Foxhole is one hell of a game, but I did not think that we were going to get this much content announced so soon. Hello again there, friends and fans, Raptor here, and you may have heard that Naval Warfare is coming to Foxhole bigger than it's ever been before. Of course, there's been naval landings and some things to do with ships and boats and whatnot, but it is on a scale never seen like this before. Submarines, battleships, naval bombardments, and actually building them at dry docks and building different types of piers in order to take over towns and make piers anywhere you want. And also something I never thought we would see, everyone thought it was impossible and would never come, towing. Yeah, doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but imagine being able to steal enemy equipment behind their lines, transport defensive guns on the fly, and build defenses and other things in the back, including trailers, and bring all that stuff to the front and more efficiently transport things around the battlefield. This is insane. Foxhole is an incredibly massive online World War simulator, and there is so much going on in this game. Even when the developers had their Twitch stream for this just a few days ago, they ran out of time to talk about everything they were knowledgeable about. Again, submarine warfare, battleships, the ability to now build different and new updated guns, as well as, well, like V2 rockets, or as people refer to it as the nuke. I like this game a lot. I think this is a really, really good game, and I've enjoyed playing it, and some of the pros that I've been speaking with have been blown away with the amount of content we get on October 26, 2023 for the whopping added price of $0. These guys want nothing more than just the base price of the game, with the continuous and non-stop updates for this game, as well as the developers working on a more medieval-like game, and this is going to be kind of like added to it, where it's just same style in medieval times. Imagine now we're going to very soon get two games where the developers will very passionately non-stop add stuff, and I just want to say I'm blown away, and thank you very much to the dev team for putting in so much work to make so many cool things for people to play with as well, to cooperatively command these battleships, these destroyers, to hunt submarines, to be able to build missile bases and construct those bases, as well as already what exists, trains and building railroads. That's insane. It's literally insane. So it's great to see them passionate, and great to see the community passionate as well. All right, well, I wanted to take a look at this with you, some of the things that the developers went over. They have their intro video for this, but also a bunch of mini videos to explain and show what's coming to the game in terms of, like, well, here's how a destroyer works, and here's how many people can be on it, here's how to lay sea mines, here's torpedoes, here's depth charges. It's insane. I knew there would be functionality here when I saw the ships, but the depth of this is insane. I mean, I hate to use the pun. No, actually, I'm very proud. So, hey, smash like for Foxhole if you watch this far into the video, and don't forget to subscribe. We're going to show a lot more of this here, especially on October 26th with our massive community. We're going to try to get into a squad and build things and transport things around. It's going to be insane. So let's watch together all the new things, all the news about Foxhole Naval Warfare update, again, coming October 26th for free. And if you don't own the game, I would definitely recommend getting it, especially when this update comes out, or the Steam Autumn or Winter sale, where Foxhole will be on big discount and is a great game. Great game. All right, let's watch.
Foxhole is a massively multiplayer game where thousands of players shape the outcome of a persistent online war. Foxhole's next chapter begins this fall with Naval Warfare, the highly anticipated update that expands the war from land to sea. Build and deploy impressive fleets of gunboats, destroyers, and massive screen-spanning battleships with dozens of players on deck. Operate new classes of large naval vessels with crews that must work in tandem above and below deck, taking control of engine rooms, sonar, navigation, and other ship systems. Coordinate with shipmates to deliver and load ammunition, launch depth charges, and deploy sea mines in nail-biting, tactical naval battles. Ship subsystems can be individually destroyed, and compartments may become flooded. Seawater must be bailed out and leaks repaired to stay afloat during naval engagements. A new threat emerges from the depths. Submarines can traverse the seas undetected, ambushing convoys and thwarting naval invasions before they begin. New base ships allow players to deploy directly at sea to stage coastal invasions. Dedicated landing ships can be launched from these bases to ferry infantry and field weapons to shore. Colossal cargo ships can resupply troops during landing operations, and portable harbors can be constructed to provide logistics for engaged inland forces. The world of Foxhole has been expanded with new water-based regions. Complete with strategic islands and offshore oil platforms, these new territories set the stage for thrilling new naval campaigns across the persistent war. Finally, logistics forces have been upgraded with vehicle towing. Towing enables brand new field weapon mechanics, including heavy field guns that are difficult to move with infantry and require deployment before usage. Logistics units can now produce one of several transport trailers, allowing additional resources, materials, and fuel to be hauled on cargo runs to the front. Naval warfare also includes new truck classes, self-propelled artillery, player-built ballistic rocket sights, and more. There's a lot more to come in the future of Foxhole, so we'll see you at the front line.
The sheer amount of content and new stuff that's coming to this game is mesmerizing and staggering. These devs are putting in so much work, it's incredible. This game almost now will operate like Sea of Thieves in terms of how ships are going to be very important for crews to work together, but on a much larger scale than that. We've seen things like leaks and being able to stock and control ammunition and be able to breach and board other ships, and so thus, you can have your minimum crews of maybe 5 to 10 above and below deck, but then can be boarded by a few patrol boats and have a battleship completely taken. That's going to be great. Pinnacle moments in this game will be when the first team is able to sink a battleship via a submarine, or are able to board an enemy ship and capture it, something along the lines of like a destroyer or perhaps a battleship itself. Insane. Now, the rework to naval landing as well is very important, because now everything will flow together, and the developers have confirmed too, and we've seen the offshore oil rigs and how controlling the water will be a little bit more than just having boats there and patrols going through an area, but actually locking down an area, including islands, to be able to then detect ships by being able to build things that can then detect enemy movement and send in the submarines or send in a force to hit them. Now, something they didn't really cover here in this developer talk is something along the lines of coastal defenses, being able to build artillery and aiming it out at sea to then be able to hit enemy ships or enemy landing craft as they try to come ashore or get close to friendly waters. If they're in your territory, of course, there's a whole slew of weapons that you could use against a ship in order to damage it. And the developers have confirmed even that, you can pull up alongside two ships next to each other and open up with small arms fire and try to kill the crew on the ship as well, and or use bazookas, for example, or Molotovs or grenades. If you get that close, it is possible. And it's going to be really awesome to see everybody working together in these different roles along the lines of people on damage control, people on the bridge or navigation, or working in some of the different gun rooms and working on supplying all the munitions to where they need to go, and or just simply working the engine room. And also all the crazy amounts of logistics that are going to be required, not only to build these ships at dry dock and repair these ships at dry dock, but then also keep them fueled out at sea and to have them return safely to a port. I mean, a battleship could be completely cut off and worthless if it can't return, if it's low on ammunition and low on fuel. If it has nowhere to go, it's basically abandoned ship and maybe even scuttle it for obvious reasons. I mean, you don't want the enemy to come up and capture that and bring the fuel and take it over too. So Foxhole is a game that has always just blown my mind. I think we've been playing this one with our good friends on other channels since the very early days of it and covered it since its launch. And since then, you've seen all the different things that the developers have added, reworking the islands and the maps and the sectors and the cities and the bridges. And that's something they're going to work on here too. And yeah, as you can see, ammo rooms, engine room, barracks, gun control, sensors, and bridge. And also the ability to take equipment now from the sea and load that onto landing craft, or literally take a large-scale landing ship and bring that ashore, open that up, and start pouring out the tanks and the infantry and the supplies and keep those troops supplied on a naval landing. So not only are we getting, naval warfare like out at sea, but that also brings in shore combat where, ships and shore can fire back at each other. But then that also brings even more support to naval landing. So we're getting ship versus ship. We're getting ship versus submarine. We're getting shore versus sea. We're also getting, of course, then new logistic types, because now we can, or better logistics for bringing people back and forth via boat and or supply too. And all these things can be built within the game, as we see here, anchors and ladders and gangways and doors. These are all things that we can interact with and or utilize on the ships in order to then move around. And, I'm not sure exactly how much customization we're going to get for these ships, if we can upgrade their armor or give them names or whatnot, but it certainly is really cool. Paint jobs, camouflage, that type of thing. But kind of hard to mistake a battleship in Foxhole, since the way the game works, you'll have to be somewhat close, but yet can fire from a very, very long distance. There's artillery, but you know how it is in this game, especially since you'll be able to detect enemy ships by building all sorts of arrays in order to try to sense them out at sea. But yeah, this is great. The amount of stuff that we're getting for free at no additional cost is insane. And it's already a game that's very healthy, with people wanting to come in for every war and trying to help out. And this is a game where you can literally play this game, a war game, without firing a shot. You can go in there and build railroads and drive trucks and gather supplies and, operate the railroad, build factory sections, reinforce things. You can be an engineer. You can build all day, never fire a shot. You can drive things back and forth. You can be a truck driver. You can be an engineer. You can repair things. You can make munition without even being on the front lines. Now, of course, the front line stuff is certainly a lot of fun, but then when you get bored of that, there's always a way to contribute to your team. And so this game by design and their sequel that they're making, or another standalone game, which the name escapes me. I think it's Siege Camp is making a new game, I believe that's the developer's name, called Anvil Empires. And all the stuff that we're seeing here in this game makes me excited for Foxhole and its future over and over again, but also anything else that this developer makes, especially in the style of Foxhole. And as you can see here, all the things that they have planned for naval combat with the different, well thought out, not just a main gun on a battleship, but we've got main armaments of, 150 millimeter, then 120 millimeters, mortars, 40 millimeters, 30 millimeters, machine guns, tripod mounts, all that stuff. Not to mention being able to lay sea mines and be able to use depth charges against submarines. And the sea mines could probably work against ships as well. And depth charges against the submarine. And the submarine being able to fire torpedoes. And maybe naval warfare will be expanded upon. And maybe because of this, one day, although I'm not sure how the hell that's going to work, we'll get aircraft or something like Zeppelins or something that can be put up into the sky and transport things around. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe there'll be a day where we can fly airplanes from point A to point B and do paradropping and stuff like that. I mean, it just depends on how organized and how much communication can go on with the community. And it seems to be pretty damn good. I mean, if you're a big fan of games like Squad and Hell Let Loose and all these other, squad-based shooters, this is like that on a scale I don't think I've ever seen before. And it still impresses me how Foxhole can work, and so it's really promising to how battleships are not just going to be something that people take an entire month to prepare for, laying out the railroad, gathering all the rare materials and supplies, and then eventually just, losing a ship. This is something where it's going to be, the best of the best. They want everyone to be able to operate these, but they also want, the people who are the most capable to toy around with these. And there's already been people doing testing in the background, and there'll be a short testing period before October 26th where people will then try these out and they'll buff out any sort of bugs or whatnot. And of course they'll continue to do that over time. There's always something to improve, and the fact that Foxhole is so caring with the things that it brings to the battle and to the game, and how different types of techniques then are buffed and debuffed, and things are moderated around, because you want balance and you want form and function, and they have teams for those things. And so they've got people that they literally pay full time to think about this game and be like, is this fair or is this unfair? And if this is unfair, this team gets an advantage here, so let's give this other team, the Wardens versus the Colonials. Well, the Wardens seem to get this thing very early and it's very powerful. Well, we could nerf that, or we could go ahead and give the Colonials some other weapon or some way to counter that. And that's certainly very apparent with all the different types of artillery that are in the game, including anti-tank guns and rifles that are on wheels, and then how those can be transported via truck and don't necessarily just have to be built on site, constantly moved around and then abandoned or pushed to the next battle. And now it gives logistics a lot more love, which I love. I absolutely love that. Now we have water logistics, a lot more of that now, with being able to bring a truck out to an oil rig and be able to take all that oil back somewhere else and bring that onto a battleship or to a facility for the war effort. And that's pretty cool to see everybody working together for a common goal. And this really pains me too, to see Foxhole doing so well. It really makes me want to see another PlanetSide type game. I know there's PlanetSide 2 out, and that's alive and kicking really well, but I really want there to be more games like this in different formats, both in sci-fi and in World War II, that work on this scale. But it is very interesting to see the community work together so well. There could be a lot of drama in a game like Foxhole 2 with people showing the map and whatnot, but I've seen nothing but understanding and kindness and inclusivity for people wanting to work together and wanting to try to just have a good time and also contribute to something. And it seems like this is exactly what's happening all the way down to the core levels of the game with the development team. Obviously and constantly, I can't believe the amount of themed updates that they've had that feel like DLCs. If this were anybody else, if this were Paradox, if this were EA, we'd be spending hundreds of dollars more to try to get some of this stuff, but it wouldn't work on this scale, and that's probably why nobody's attempted this before. And it's probably why this game is also very successful, is that I don't think I've seen so much excitement for a game, and I just didn't think we would see something where not only did we get naval ships, but again, going back to the towing and the updated artillery and how things work differently, and there are different weights, and they considered horsepower, and they considered when a team can get access to different vehicles that might be a little more powerful. Just even in terms of the trucks, if you add a new truck to the game, you have to think about everything on every level. On the opposite side, if Team A gets a truck that's going to allow them to transport things a lot further and a lot faster, that's going to really help their war effort on every level, down to the riflemen, all the way up to the tanks and the battleships. So yeah, that's crazy. So I commend the team. I certainly encourage everybody on this channel who's seen me play Foxhole before, definitely think about picking it up and or adding it to your wish list and get into this war, and definitely join me and everybody else and look for the people who want to help you to have a good time and contribute to something where, again, if you're not really interested in war games, just think of this as more like a logistics factory builder. It's literally like a Factorio with some of the efficiencies of the rail lines that I've seen and railway artillery. Incredible. All right, well, thanks again, everybody, for subscribing, and I hope to see you all soon for more Foxhole. October 26th, let's go.